All right, everybody, let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Let's get me out of here so we can watch and see what happens with Jacob Tillman with the Suzuki DRZ 400. There is the crash. Now, write in the comments, what do you think caused that? Okay, look at the scenario. Look at everything. Thankfully, he's got boots. Okay, and he's going to lift the bike up the correct way. Very good, Jacob. Hopefully you're doing fine. Let's take a look at this. Now, what we do here is that we go over the plan method here at the MTC Rider Academy. So if you don't know what the plan method is, let's put it up on the board. We're going to be positioning for safety, locating, assessing, and navigating. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Position for safety. Okay, we're in the middle of the road. That's fine because now we got space cushions everywhere. So we got space cushion way up front, you got space cushion over here, space cushion over here. Okay, very good. So we got space cushions all around. So when it comes to position for safety, we need to look for space cushions, line of sight, escape routes. It's really, really important. So right here, we got escape route to the right, escape route to the left. We have decent line of sight. We can see through here. So that's part of it, is you want to be able to see. We have a lot of good stuff going for us. Now, if a car was coming this way, we might have to kind of adjust ourselves. So how do we do that? We pretty much ride within the conditions present at that point. We see something changing up and we got to do something. And that's what it means to locate hazardous situations. There you go. Cars coming, gravel on one side of the road, we got to readjust. Assessing if anything's a relevant threat. That's a big one here. So if the car's in your lane, you can't really do much. You got to do something. You got to navigate out of it. So let's take a look at this. There's no cars. It's going to be, I think, gravel on the road or leaves. So there's the immediate dump. Now take a look at the discoloration right where it happens. Okay, so it looks like gravel is going to be the cause of that. So when it comes to positioning for safety, so let's take a look at this. Let's attack it with the attack it with the position for safety. Come on now, you guys. So right here, we see a discoloration in the road. Okay, it's a little bit difficult because it's filmed with a little bit of a potato and there's some YouTube compression. And also the light from the sun and the shadows can really mess with your eyes. Your pupils are constantly doing this now, constricting and dilating because of everything. So it can really mess with your vision. So I can't blame Jacob too much on this one. But when it comes to this, you see the discoloration. So when we talk about planning, okay, he was already in a good position for safety and he's constantly locating hazards. Here's the thing. We're in a good position, but then when we located the discoloration, this is the hazardous situation, we have to reposition ourselves for a new position for safety. In order to do that, let's get that back on the board, is that we have to assess if this is a relevant threat. Well, gravel in the middle of a turn is definitely a relevant threat because we see what's happening here and you could lose traction, maybe regain it and not have an issue, but this person did have an issue, and this is going to be one of those things. It's like, let's not play our cards on this one. Let's just not take a chance. Let's go around it. And that's what we're going to do with the navigation of active threats. We're going to consider this an active threat, all that gravel. So in order to reposition for safety, we have to navigate it. How do we navigate it? Well, we could try to stop in time. It's not very feasible right now because we're in the middle of a turn and we saw this late, and our total stopping distance isn't going to be good enough when it comes to this. So what we can do is we see this, okay, we see this relevant hazard and we try our best to go around it, or we try to go through it, but instead of turning, because it looks like we're still in the turn, kind of straighten up the handlebars, go over it as straight as possible. And once you pass it, then reinitiate your turning. So don't accelerate, don't do anything, just coast over it. You'll slow down a little bit, but then readjust your turning when you go over it. You can do that with ice, you can do that with a bunch of other stuff, but definitely in a corner, this is going to be one of those things where we located this, boom, we assessed it, yes. We were going to navigate it, yes. And once we get around it, we're going to reposition for safety and get back into our lane, readjust our speed for the conditions, and get a new escape path, get everything. Just start reevaluating. So it's going to be hard to see when you're coming around these corners, because there's so much information that needs to be processed, and there's the thing right there. So hopefully he's able to navigate around it next time. Hopefully he's going to learn from this incident, but we're definitely learning from this incident. We want to make sure that we don't do it ourselves. So make sure you guys pay attention. But here's the thing. We're going to be talking about what is the safest way to ride a motorcycle later on in this video. So make sure you stay tuned. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Cardo Bluetooth Systems, for having literally the world's best power sports communication system. It allows me to talk to the crew that I'm riding with, and it's a nice little safety feature so you can actually call 911, keep your hands free when you need to rescue somebody on scene. Grab yourself a Cardo Bluetooth system. Links in the description for a discount code, and it supports us. Let's support our sponsors because they support this training. Let's go ahead and get right back into it. What is the safest way to ride a motorcycle? The safest way to ride a motorcycle is to, first and foremost, have the training involved to even be on a motorcycle. What's the safest way to go for a walk? Well, you don't want to go for a walk in the middle of the desert and not know where you're at with no water. You're not prepared. Okay, what about safest way to working out? Do you know what you're doing? Are you lifting too much weight? You see how it's starting to get the knowledge and putting yourself in a good position for safety and understanding what's going on. So, what is the safest way to ride a motorcycle? The safest way to ride a motorcycle is knowing what you're doing. Go take a class, put some gear on, understand where you're going from point A to point B. So get yourself a phone mount. We use quad locks here, but get yourself a phone mount. Put GPS on so you know where you're going. And avoid objects, avoid obstacles, avoid other vehicles. The safest way is to know. Have an awareness of the risks. And not be like, oh, the risks are too high, I'm not going to do it. The risks are high. The risks are high for living. The risks are high for eating too much food. The risks are high for not wearing clothes and going outside and getting arrested for nudity. The risks are high no matter what you do, as long as you know what you're supposed to do and be within the boundaries and have an awareness of the risk and then what you can do to mitigate those risks. The best way to mitigate risks when it comes to riding a motorcycle, making it safer, is getting more knowledge and to get more practice, increase your skill level, and your risk level starts to go down while your skill level starts to go up. It's never going to go away, but your confidence is going to go up. You're not going to panic. You know what to do in emergencies. You know what to do during non-emergencies. You know how to just ride without even thinking because it's all automatic. You're still trying to think and staying focused, but it just becomes easier. It just becomes easier. Practice, 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 practice like your life depends on it, because it does. And if you want to practice your slow speed skills, get yourself the Smart Rider Drill booklet, 20 plus drills inside of here that will help you out. All you need is a small parking lot, 10 cones, which, by the way, when you get the booklet, there's an option for cones too. So you, boom, already done. Practice, become safer, become smarter. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and take a look at this one right here. Let's get me off the screen and let's jump into it. Let's see what happens. And it was a single vehicle accident. Sounds painful. Thankfully, there's a runoff. Nobody else on the road. Interesting, interesting, interesting. All right, so let me know what you think happened here. All right, so let's go and take a look at this. We're coming up. We have a Honda here, Emil, and we see already some chevrons. Okay, so before we dive into this, okay, there's the chevrons right there. Let's make it neon green. What we need to be looking for is that planning method, okay? So we're talking about that, the plan method, position for safety. We're in a good position. You know, we got skate paths. We got everything here. Line of sight's pretty good. Everything. Let's get that back on the board. So locating hazardous situations, okay? It's a corner. Okay, we got a corner coming up. We should be in orange stage right here. We got chevrons indicating, hey, there's something sharp coming up. Got to figure it out. So now we're kind of in that mode of orange stage. And with the planning, we have to assess if there's any relevant threats. Okay, so is there any gravel? You know, our own speed could be a relevant threat. That's something we can definitely have control over. And that's part of positioning for safety is riding within the conditions present also. So assessing if you're your own threat. You know, are you going too fast going into here? If you are, what we need to do when it comes to navigation of an active threat, if you're your own threat, slow it down. Okay, it's as simple as that. Now, he tried to slow it down. I believe he tried to apply a little bit too much brake, whether it's front or rear or both, and he started to fall down, lose some traction, and then there was kind of like a high side that happened. So basically, he got flipped up over. So right here, we're gonna start the low side, fall down a little bit. So we're starting to fall down a little bit because we're turning left and applying some brake pressure. And then what's happening is that it's gonna grab traction and flip him over. So lots of forces going into him. So, oh, that turn is coming up sharper. You see how it kind of bends around that looks like a barn right there? Okay, so we start to panic a little bit. So when it comes to planning our ride, we just now located this situation. We are assessing it's a relevant threat almost immediately, and then we're doing something immediately. So we're doing an emotional reaction, not a skill-based reaction. An emotional reaction is, I gotta stop now. Smash! Instead of, I need to slow down and make this turn. So how do I do that? Well, I need to apply some progressive braking right now. I need to make sure that I am looking through the corner. I need to initiate counter steering. And then when my nose is pointed out towards where I want to go, which is on the other side of this turn, is to roll on that throttle. So that's where it's skill-based reaction, skill-based solutions versus emotional reactions and emotional solutions. So we don't want to go into brown stage. If you don't know what brown stage is, you're going to be in a world of hurt, and that's when we panic. Okay, so brown, obviously he pooped his pants here, but we want to bring that back on the board. We go from orange stage to red stage, so we're actively engaged in something. We're getting ourselves out of here. Brown stage is going to be no. So that's what happens here. Panicked real quick, and it's going to cause us to crash. Okay, so there's nobody else on the road. Nobody did anything. It didn't look like there's any gravel, oil, nothing. The main thing here is going to be speed. Now, we just went off into the grass, and he's going to look around. Thankfully, he's able to stand up, but there's a guardrail right where he could have been going. So you see the guardrail right there. So if that guardrail kept going, he would have went through the guardrail. It could have been a lot worse. So a simple going too fast and then panicking is going to cause issues. So make sure you guys position for safety, okay? Make sure you position for safety, locate these hazards, come up. So we're going to go into orange stage because it's a curve. We're going to assess that, you know, is there a relevant threat? Is there traffic? Is there oil? Is there gravel? Is there something there, a deer running across? Or is it your speed? Are you the relevant threat? If you are, you got to navigate through that. You need to slow it down. In this situation, it's just him. Slow it down and then go through the corner. Do some slow press and roll, engine braking, whatever it is you need to do to slow down and make it through the corner. Please do it. Please do it. But if you're the problem, let's go ahead and slow it down. All right, everybody, Big Mac Miller Lite. Let's go ahead and take a look at this and see what happens here. So we're having a little fun with some buddies. Okay. Looks like a pedometer. Maybe a bicycle speedometer. And here he goes. Oh, left shoulder. Easily broken clavicle if we didn't break it. No, he's got some stability.
I hope so.
Okay, so he looked at his arm. Okay, interesting. Let's go ahead and get me back on the board. Here we go. So we're riding with some buddies on a little mini bikes, having some fun. No problem with this. Now he's going like 30 something, right? So yeah, I think he's going 30 something. So e-bikes can do that, by the way. My Super 73, if you unlock it, 32 miles an hour. I got a juice bike, and you can go faster than 30 something miles per hour if you're pedaling pretty hard and you max out the speed on that thing. So yeah, you can go pretty fast. And one of the big problems with that is that, you know, 30 something miles an hour can really do some damage. 20 miles an hour can do damage. 10 miles an hour can do damage. Sprinting and then tripping yourself can do damage. And that's under 10 miles an hour for some of you guys. For me, I'm a cheetah, but we're going through here. So make sure you guys wear gear. That's one of the big things here, or be a little bit more careful. So hopefully at least wear a helmet, wear some gloves. And if you're gonna smash your shoulder, hey, maybe it's time to buy some shoulder armor. You know, they have mountain bike, downhill racing shoulder armor and stuff. So we're going pretty fast, 37 miles per hour. Okay, there we go. Now 40, okay. So when it comes to positioning for safety right here, so we're going to talk about this. This is the moment we kind of get into it, okay? So position for safety. We're all positioned pretty well. 30 miles per hour. We're off in a staggered situation. And I'm talking about the rider that we have the camera right now. So we have good line of sight until we get to this crest of the hill. You notice that, right? That's like a blind vertical turn. It's a crest of the hill. It's just like a blind left and right turn. I got to make sure, you know, we're not going too fast, and there's maybe like the end of the earth is right there. You never know. Big earthquakes. Probably California. But anyways, we have a space cushion right here. Okay, we're staggered. We have just a little bit of a space cushion, but remember, bikes can pretty much just ride the line if we really needed to. So what we have is an escape path to the line. We have an escape path all the way to the left if we don't go forward, you know. So that's why we have a staggered formation. We have good braking distance, total stopping distance, everything up here. We're doing pretty good. This is if everything stays situated. So if it doesn't, if it adjusts and moves, we're gonna have to locate that hazardous situation, assess if there's any relevant threats in that, and then navigate it ourselves. So right now we're doing good. We're all just kind of cruising with each other, talking on our cardos. And then we got somebody right here. Okay, there's always going to be that one guy, Big Mac Miller Lite or whoever, that's going to be running through and be like, I want to show off. I can go 40. You guys are only going 28. You know, whatever it is. But we're coming up to a corner. So this rider did not see that there was a hazardous situation. He didn't locate it. He's putting himself in a bad position to where all he can do is pretty much cut our buddy off right here and try to make it through this way. That's not going to be very easy when we're going faster and faster into a corner and not set up for a good cornering situation. So he's going to go off and just do that. Okay. Cuts off our buddy and could cause some issues. So this guy did not locate hazard situations, did not assess that his speed was a relevant threat, and he's not navigating anything. That's him. He crashes, whatever it is. Our job is to rescue him afterwards, so we need to remain calm when something crazy happens. So what do we do here? What are we supposed to do here when somebody's going to cut across? Okay, let's take a quick look a little bit more. Okay, well, he's going pretty fast. He's going 12 miles an hour faster than us. He cut us off. Now look he blocked our line of sight. You see how that works out? Blocks our line of sight, blocks our escape path. Our space cushion has been demolished. So what do? We have to readjust for a position for safety. It looks like he rolled off his throttle a little bit. So that's going to do some engine braking, even if at 28 miles per hour. Let's see. Oh, no, not yet, but we're going to go ahead and see him crash. Roll off the throttle, apply some brakes, and get ourselves in a better position for line of sight, escape paths, because right now, we can hopefully continue going here instead of following our buddy and target fixated. You notice how things are just happening quickly. So that's why we're constantly adjusting. We're trying to standardize as much as we possibly can. We're riding in staggered formation. We're not going to pass each other on these curves. We're going to talk to each other on our CARDO units. We have good communication, or we use hand signals, whatever it is. And we're going to try to make it to where all of these factors are not going to be an issue for us. Nobody's going to pass each other. Nobody's going to cut each other off. Nobody's going to do any of this stuff. And that's why we are trying to ride safely in a group ride. Now, if one of our buddies decides to just break that protocol and we are not aware of it because nobody communicated or whatever it is, it's going to cause issues like this guy. Okay, it's going to cause issues right there. So we are trying our best to where, because it's an ever-evolving situation of planning, that we can just kind of minimize as much as stuff we have to think about. And so right here, when this guy did this, now we have to really go into emergency plan mode, and we have to assess if this is a relevant threat. Yeah, because if he stops right in front of us or crashes in front of us, we're going to hit him. We have to navigate ourselves around it. So this guy's naturally going to keep going this way. We just have to kind of go this way and get around him, but that plays into a bad situation if we have somebody behind us. So one person can ruin and complicate the living crap out of a group ride. See how we panic broke right there? Okay. Not too bad. We still handled it. Kept it on the road. That's a big one. So 40 is going to cut over here. There's the panic, but we kept it on the road. We could have fell because of our buddy right here. So this is why we need to pay attention. This guy doesn't know what's going on. Hopefully you guys have your rescue packs on your bike so that you can hopefully stop any major bleeds or any little bleeds for Big Mac Miller Lite. But yeah, just don't ride like this. Just don't. So everybody, we're gonna watch Steve's Bra on the Ninja 400. Let's get me out of here so we can take a look at what happens. There's the normal corner. Oh, we dumped the bike on a Ninja 400. So he wasn't accelerating super hard. Okay, checking his arm, making sure everything's fine. Okay, this is why we wear gear. That's why we want to be a smart rider, everybody. Acquire and use personal protective equipment. And then dude just takes off. Okay, that truck... Oh, come on, man. Yeah, he's walking wounded, but you still want to check up on him. Okay, let's take a quick look at what happens here. So we're in a normal left turn. Okay, when it comes to planning your ride, okay, intersection's coming up because you know it is, right? So we're going to be orange stage, so we're prepped and ready. So we're positioned for safety. We're covering the brakes. We're engine braking, downshifting, doing everything. We're looking where we want to go. We have, a good space cushion line of sight, and we have that escape. So if we're turning, we can escape, possibly just going straight or kind of navigate different areas of the lane that we're going into. But it doesn't look like we have anything. We don't have anybody in our rear view mirror. We barely have any traffic. We do have some sides of the vehicles coming up. So we have the side of the vehicle right here. So what we're doing right now is kind of assessing. Okay, so we're coming into here. So we're positioned for safety, pretty good position. Locating hazardous situations. Okay, so that's the intersection. Assessing if this is a relevant threat. The person's kind of staying still. Not really a relevant threat. If they start peeking out a little bit and start kind of annoying you, yeah, maybe a navigation of an active threat. But right now, no, not that bad. So really what we need to be paying attention to on top of that is, what is our speed entering this corner? Is there any road surface hazards? Okay, remember, we're in a hazardous situation, so we should be in orange stage. Now we have to start assessing all of these things. Is there debris? Is there gravel? Is there a side of the vehicle, somebody coming out? Is our speed doing well? Are we paying attention? Are we zoned in? Do we have the skills necessary to make a left-handed turn at a certain speed? So we're coming up to here. He's going to make the turn. Now, I don't see any gravel. I see cracks in the road, and who knows? Okay, who knows? We could have lost traction because we hit a crack. Who knows? There could have been some oil, whatever it is. But for what I can see, I don't know. It could be our tires, low tread. It could be that we accelerated a little bit too hard or went a little bit too fast into the corner. It's like a concrete road, so maybe it's a little bit slipperier than asphalt. Write in the comments, because in California, I know they have a lot of concrete roads. So write in the comments if you live in California, you could just tell the difference between riding on concrete versus riding on asphalt. I can tell it's a little bit slipperier, but not too bad. But still, I don't like it. So we started to dump the bike. We're low siding here, okay? So when it comes to planning our ride up to this point, we did everything possible. We positioned for safety. We located hazards. We assessed anything. Nothing's happening. We're just going to do a normal left-handed turn, handling it well. Now, let's say we did everything right. You know, we seeked and maintained. We had maintained our, seeked and recognized. We maintained our fundamental skills. And do we have full gear? So this is the point where if we did everything right, something still happens. Do we have gear to mitigate injuries? Okay, we fell left side. So when we talk about mechanism of injury, left side is going to be the side that's typically going to have the impact and possibly abrasions. Okay, his pants were already ripped. He immediately checked his elbow. Okay, when we hit the ground on our elbow, because we're falling down to protect ourselves, we put our hands down like this onto the ground. This whole underside right here is going to have abrasions and impact. So the elbow's going to have the impact, but you're going to have abrasions all up in here, especially if you're sliding for a little bit longer than this. That's why we have that gear, because it has an elbow protector, but then it has reinforced, you know, like Kevlar, leather, whatever it is, for that sliding area. Okay, so that's why we need to have gear. Walking over here, quick mode. Does a quick check because it's still painful. Maybe it's starting to become more painful. This is why we have gear. Thankfully, nothing crazy happened, but this is why we acquire and use personal protective equipment. So we're going to come up to here. He pulled out a piece of a rock probably right there. We have a truck, decided to just drive right by like a jerk. So truck, Mr. Truck, I don't like you very much. Part of being a smart rider, smart driver, a decent human being is to rescue injured people with medical training, if you have that medical training. But if we're over here riding around with our smart rider rescue pack, you can help each other. I keep one in my backpack, so when I go for a ride, I have my backpack. When I go into my truck, into my van, I have my backpack. I have my backpack right here, okay? Make sure you have something. You never know. You never know. I've stopped on some vehicle accidents before, motorcycle accidents before, and I had my gear ready. Thankfully, I didn't have to use any of it, but if I did, I had it. So this guy right there, kind of dumb. But Steve's Bra is going to help us by teaching and mentoring us when it comes to riding motorcycles. So we can hopefully not do what happened here. And what happened here is a typical crash that happens, but what we're going to do differently is get a jacket. The Alpine Stars gloves probably protect his palms really well. Just get the jacket now. That's what we're learning. Whew. No es buenos. Grab some pizza.